Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome. It's Wednesday. It's Daytona Beach 1 million cups. Welcome to Daytona Cinematique. Hey, I know we have some first timers in the house today. Who are you? Raise your hands away and say hello. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe. So welcome. This is Daytona Cinematique where we're at. They have events going on all throughout the month. There's calendars on the tables. We want to support this great venue. So they'll be here forever, so we can be here on Wednesdays forever. I also want to thank Volusia Economic Development. Without their support, we can't be here. We can't have that wonderful coffee either. So we are also brought to you by the Kaufman Foundation. All throughout the country, we have entrepreneurs sharing their story, sharing their needs, their concerns, their challenges. And that's what we allow them to do, to come up here and talk about what they do and share their challenges. So you'll have an opportunity to ask questions or give advice. That's what they're here for today. So we have some swag. So before you first-timers leave today, go see Valerie, and we have some gifts for you as well. So without any other business to do, I am Sean. We have organizers Charles, Val, Tom, myself, Casey just walked in, he's right by me. How you doing, Casey? And Carlos, where's Carlos today? I know where he's at. All right, so I want to go ahead and introduce Heather, and she's going to share the story of Camp Boggy Creek. So let's give her a nice welcome.
Good morning, everybody. I am so excited to share with you everything that is Camp Boggy Creek. How many of you went to summer camp? Okay, good amount of you. I never got to go, but now I get to. So Camp Boggy Creek started in 1996. It started because of a girl named Jennifer Massey. Jennifer Massey was about 14 years old and she had cancer. And her parents let her go to a hole-in-the-wall gang, which was one of the first medically safe camps that Paul Newman opened in Connecticut. She went to camp and she enjoyed it a lot, and she came back to South Florida, where her family was from. And she wanted to know why there wasn't a camp similar to the one in Connecticut here in Florida for children with serious illnesses. So her parents were folks of affluence and influence, and they knew a lot of people that had a lot of passion for the cause and the mission. So they were able to raise $26 million, and they were gifted the land, 232 acres by Florida Hospital, to Camp Boggy Creek. So they started a camp. And the camp is medically safe because we have a building called The Patch. And I'll tell you a little bit more about The Patch later, but on 232 acres, they opened Camp Boggy Creek for children with serious illnesses because of Jennifer Massey and Paul Newman, the actor, philanthropist, and yes, race car driver. We're gonna watch a little piece of magic.
Whenever I'm in the dumps, I come back here and it reaffirms everything that I think is really good and generous about this country. And to have some kid come up who's been in the hospital for 6 months out of the year and say, this place, to come back here is what I live for.
My condition? Primary pulmonary hypertension. My lungs can't open like yours. I had chemo and it made my hair go away. And I had to get a bone marrow transplant, a bone marrow biopsy, an x-ray, and an operation. This summer I discovered I had Hodgkin's disease.
Well, you hear everything about cancer, especially one of your children. That's what's so hard. Why not me?
I have to get chemo and I have to get shots.
We went to the hospital and they did a bone marrow aspiration and said that that it was leukemia.
These children suffer pain, they suffer in ways that you and I never will. And yet they're kids, they're just children, they shouldn't have to do that.
When I had my second heart surgery, my parents were talking to one of the nurses, and they they said, oh, there's this camp called Boggy Creek that I'll invite you to this next year.
What makes Boggy Creek unique is the fact that this is a camp for kids who could not go to another camp. All these children are so ill and have so many medications that there's no way that any other camps are going to accept these children.
We have illnesses ranging from cancer to hemophilia, immunology, some kids HIV positive. We have children who are bound in wheelchairs or crutches. You wouldn't know that there's anything wrong with the way they run around, sing, dance, smile, jump. They're here just for we are, just to have a good time and to play. Everywhere you look, there's a little piece of magic.
When you're with all the other campers and just having fun, you just forget about that you have a disease.
Because no one can make fun of me or anything because they're just the same as me.
My friends here have like problems too, and I can talk to them and understand them.
They develop friendships with kids who have illnesses, and they begin to realize that they're not alone.
I have had that, they call a window. I had that done, and no one else in my cabin's had that done. They've all had open heart surgery, so it's like really cool. I can talk about that to them, and they can talk about open heart surgery to me.
When they go to Boggy Creek, they're just like everybody else, and they're allowed to be kids. I mean, they can really, for that time, be just a normal kid.
I can't go home and whine about my life anymore when I come here for a week. Our job description is to make sure each and every one of these kids has the best week of their lives. And I think a lot of times we accomplish that.
I see some of the strongest kids I've ever seen with the stuff they've had to deal with and just take it like it's a normal day.
We empower them to do things they've never thought they could ever do.
That's it, Joe.
All right. So as you can see, Camp Boggy Creek is a really magical place. We do summer camp. We do that from June to August, but we also do family retreat weekends. So family retreat weekend is January to March, and then we open for summer, and then in September to November, we do another family retreat weekend series. Now, every weekend is dedicated towards a specific diagnosis, and that's so that at camp we can have the appropriate doctors and nurses to be able to have attention towards that specific diagnosis. The same as during summer. Every week there's a different diagnosis. So one week could be heart, another week could be immune, another week could be epilepsy. So everything that we do at camp is intentional, and with purpose. We're able to accommodate every diagnosis. So all of our activities at camp, they are fully capable of doing with our assistance and planning. That's riding horses, because we have a horse stable. That's also fishing. We have mini golf. We have a gym with basketball courts. We have a parks and rec field. We have paddle boats. There's all sorts of different activities that these kids can do. And when you think about it, yes, those are simple things for a child to be able to do. However, when you have a serious illness, you could go into crisis at any point in time. For example, our swimming pool. We have a sauna attached to the swimming pool, and that's there for a reason. We serve children with sickle cell. And children with sickle cell, their body temperatures don't adjust naturally. So in order for us to be able to make sure that they don't go into crisis, we have a sauna where they can comfortably adjust their body temperature so that they don't go into crisis. Now that we're talking about children growing into crisis, we do have a facility called The Patch. Our medical is kind of in the background because we want these children to feel like they're at a place where they can just be kids. Their diagnosis is in the background. We even use first-person language so that we're putting the person before the diagnosis. So with The Patch, we have the dinosaur room. The dinosaur room is meant for kind of like cuts, scrapes, bruises. Then we have a trauma room and conversations with first responders. Go ahead and get into the PowerPoint. Our mission at Camp Boggy Creek is to make sure that children with serious illnesses and their families experience a free, life-changing camp where safety, respect, and love come together to enrich their physical and behavioral health. It's very important that these families get to go to camp for free because they have hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical bills. So our job is to make sure that they don't have to pay for that. So we have swimming, we have boating, arts and crafts, horseback riding, pony rides. We have a safe, medically supported environment for families. They get to make friends, so a lot of that is going to the pool where scars don't hide. So you can see that someone has a scar just like you and have that conversation. Or you can see that someone has a scar that you know is from a specific surgery and you're scheduled to have that surgery. And as a child, that can be very, very scary. So you're able to have that conversation with that person. You can almost hear on Cabin Row children kind of whispering to each other in the evening when they're getting ready for bed because they're talking to each other about things that they don't really want to talk in large groups about. So we also empower these kids to be able to ask questions about their own health care, because a lot of times those conversations are between the doctor and the parent. So now the child is able to have confidence, and when you create a pattern of courage, they translate that into the real world, into their medical lives. I haven't heard that in a long time. So camp is always free to families and campers. Our facilities are designed for children with chronic and serious illnesses. Our programs are inclusive and adaptive so all children can participate. We have a 24/7 medical facility located on camp called The Patch. Camp is located in Eustis, Florida. It's about 45 minutes from Orlando. It's about 15 minutes from DeLand. It is not that far away, and I invite all of you to come out and visit us. We are a member of the Serious Fun Network. So when Paul Newman created these medically safe camps with General Schwarzkopf, he also created a Serious Fun Network. And this network provides a standard so that if you want to create a medically safe camp, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. We are safe and we're the only fully supervised medical camp in Florida. We're medically sound, free, and members of 16 camps worldwide and 9 in the United States. We've served over 95,000 campers and families since 1996. It's amazing because when you see the buildings on camp, all of them, with the exception of our Welcome Center, were built in 1996, and they do not look it. We keep up so well with these cabins. We have a very small facilities team, but they are always working to keep everything just as it needs to be. We are fully funded exclusively through philanthropy, contributions from individuals, organizations, corporations, and foundations. And it's pretty amazing. Every camper gets to go. So if you want to do a campership, that's $2,500. That's how much it costs to have a camper go for the summer. And Camp Boggy Creek is pure magic. We can all leave our sickness behind and just be kids. These are the following diagnosis groups. So we have our ages from 7 to 17. There is a program that allows the 17-year-olds aging out to be pals, our counselors. So that's impactful because if you're new to camp and your pal is someone who's been to camp, that makes you feel a bit more comfortable about the experience. Our parents also have questions about camp, so Family Retreat Weekend is a way to be able to kind of dip their toe into camp, and they can come with their children, so anyone in the immediate family gets to come to Family Retreat Weekend. But we also have doctors that volunteer at camp whose patients come to Camp Boggy Creek, so that's another way for the families to feel more comfortable about leaving their kids with us. So we deal with arthritis, asthma, cancer, cerebral palsy, craniofacial, diabetes, epilepsy, heart, hemophilia, bleeding disorders, gastrointestinal illnesses, kidney, sickle cell, spina bifida, and transplants. And at Boggy Creek, you feel like you have no limitations on what you can do. It's almost like you're dreaming it, and it's there. Now we also have volunteer and employment opportunities, camp counselors for the summer, certified lifeguards, dining hall attendants, equestrian assistants, family weekend volunteers, administrative support, day volunteers, fundraising events, medical staff, our doctors, nurses, and mental health professionals, as well as pharmacists. If you want to be a camp counselor, if you want to be a lifeguard during the summer, or for our family retreat weekends, we train you, we certify you. Camp Boggy Creek pays for that so that you can be fully equipped with everything you need to know to become a volunteer. And we also train you for a month to do that before summer. The patches are a $23 million facility. The medical equipment that's in the patch is all donated by local healthcare partners that we've had relationships with for going on 30 years. Next year we'll be 30 years old. So they donate a lot of the equipment that we have at the patch, and they also help us service that equipment. That's our dinosaur. And then the balloon room, that's our trauma room. And you can kind of see how everything's somewhat hidden in the background when it comes to the medical side of it. Our volunteer doctors and nurses, they ask us if they need to wear scrubs during summer. No, absolutely not. This is a place where we want kids to always feel like they're at camp and they're not at a doctor's office. We also kind of try to push the kids in a gentle way to say yes to things, to gain more confidence in being able to do certain things. So one summer you may have a camper who doesn't want to ride a horse, and then they've spent the whole time off before the next summer kind of jazzing themselves up to ride a horse. And all of a sudden, little Emily is riding a horse and she's ready to go and she feels more confident about it. These are some of our campers, our volunteers outside of the patch, in the gym. When I'm feeling down, I think of Boggy, because at Boggy, your whole world is going the way you want it. And this is how you can help. Join one of our signature events that helps us raise money for our mission. Host your own event. So we do third-party community events. You can host your own event to raise money and awareness. Camp is always free to all families and campers. You can purchase an item from our wish list that helps us save funds in kind donations. You can make a financial donation, ask your company to match it, and you can introduce us to your friends, clubs, professional organizations. I talk to the deli lady about Camp Boggy Creek. I talk to everyone I possibly can about this camp, because even though next year will be 30 years, there's a lot of folks that still don't know that we exist. And because we don't always wear our illnesses on our sleeve, you never know who you're talking to that might have that need. I put my information at the last one. There we go. All right, thank you guys.
Great job. Thank you very much, Heather. We appreciate you coming out today. So I'm Tom Jordan, one of the organizers. So for those of you who are new today, the opportunity is now your turn to ask questions, throw out some ideas, throw out some comments, whatever you might want to do. So I'm going to walk around. I'll raise your hand and I'll try to catch every one of you. And we'll start over here with Miss Jen.
Great presentation. Jen Rogers with Just Peachy Clean. And I wanted to say that I went to an event at Camp Boggy Creek earlier this year, the TEDx Eustace talk. The campus is absolutely amazing. Like, you have downplayed it completely. Like, we were in the auditorium, which I think was built by Universal Studios. It's got Lady Woodpecker in it when you walk in. I was a little embarrassed because the guy walking in front of me goes, "Who's that?" Regardless. But the facilities are absolutely amazing. So if you haven't been, you should absolutely check it out. But when you said that you guys accept volunteers over the summer, if somebody wants to volunteer, can they volunteer for a specific amount of time, or do they have to volunteer for the whole summer? How does that work?
Yeah, they can volunteer for a specific amount of time. If they want to do a specific week, like say they have a passion and interest in working on Heart Week, they can do that. So you get to choose. There is flexibility in that. And yes, camp is amazing. I tell people all the time, it is worth the drive out to Eustis to see it. It's unbelievable. The whole property has this buzz about it, even when campers aren't there. The gym is really interesting, and the theater as well. We also have Alvin and the Chipmunks outside of the gym, and a lot of kids don't know who they are either, so it's kind of interesting. But yeah, the theater is amazing. So the theater has a full stage. It's high enough so that you can just sit on it. You don't have to jump up. Everything is ADA. There's wheelchair ramps that go onto the stage. There's fully functional dressing rooms with all sorts of costumes and hats. We have a piano. Universal actually still comes back, and they help us out with servicing all of the theater equipment in there. So it's amazing.
Got a question back?
Hi, Heather. Thank you so much. My name is Barbara Kari. I'm a traveling educator. This is my second time at this event. And I met some wonderful people last week, and then I consider them my friends right, it's Natalie and Val and some others that are here, but I invited this young man here today. He is a barber. His name is Alvin, A+ barber. So I'm happy that he's here and heard your presentation. My question was a follow-up to what was asked about the volunteers. As a traveling educator, I meet a lot of young people who are coming out of high school, maybe are not ready to go right into college, or they're trying to decide on things to do. What would you recommend in terms of how to speak to them, to encourage them with what you're doing? And I definitely want to do a fundraiser event for you, for your organization. So I'm getting ready to do my own musical play, and it's called Divine Divas, Divas Divinas, and it's going to debut in August. So usually when I have an opening night, it's a Thursday night, then we do a preview night, and it's like a dress rehearsal, but we also make it a free night, where it's the fundraiser for an organization, and I would love to have your organization be the beneficiary of that. So I definitely want to talk to you today.
Yes, that's fantastic. We actually do have a lot of young kids that come out and volunteer. They're either 18, so they're going into college, or they're trying to decide what it is that they want to do. And camp is a great way to figure that out. I mean, if you have a passion for serving the community and you enjoy working with children, say you're considering going into education such as yourself, camp is a great place to figure out if that works for you. Because we have 150, about 175 kids at camp every week. So it's a large group, and because of the age ranges, I think you get to kind of feel out what age group you want to work with if you do want to go into education. And it's a lot of fun.
So my follow-up then is, do you have theater like as a part of the camp? Does that notice that you said the stage and everything, but do you have like a company that would come and do a skit or a little play that relates to the students?
So because we have a programs department, they handle a lot of the activities that happen at camp. Because of the fact that we are a medically safe camp and we're dealing with children, we have to have them go through an extensive background check to make sure that anyone who's on the property is allowed to be there. The theater is really for them to be creative. So we have talent shows that they put on. There's different skits that they can do with the items in the dressing room and everything. So it's more directed towards allowing them the ability to have that freedom of creativity and expression, more so than it is about productions.
Okay, so I'm a certified teacher in the state of California. So it would be educators, they will all be certified teachers. But I just was curious about whether they have an actual production they go to see, done for them. And that's what I had in mind. Like it would be like Charlotte's Web or some type of something they could relate to, but actually a production where they can come see it done for them.
Sure, I can give you my information. We can talk more about it.
Okay.
Good morning, Diego and Fiesta LLC. First question is, you are a 501c3?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And are you affiliated with any religious organization or any such organization?
We are not.
Okay. And how has your funding been recently?
It's been great. We do really well with a lot of our continued donors. We're also reaching out to North and South Florida, so we're broadening our range of different donors and sponsorship groups.
Okay, thank you.
Terry Savage at Southern Stone Communications. We team up with you with the ride out there, so y'all do a really great job. But personal experience, my first job out of high school was Camp Sky Ranch up in Blowing Rock, North Carolina. I'm sure you've heard of that. And then I always dreamed of being a camp director, and I did that at U.S. Space Camp for 3 years. So I've got a little bit of background. Just want to state the impact that this has on these kids' future. You get a child that's been basically isolated in a lot of ways, and they get an opportunity to just open up and be part of a world that they never imagined. And with the growth and expansion and change, it's something that will impact you for the rest of your life, but it will impact them even more than you ever imagined. So get involved, support it, good programs. One of the challenges of any camp is just keeping everybody's attention and focus and direction. It's one of the challenges we had at U.S. Space Camp because of the environment we're in. What's the trick to that? How do you keep that focus? How do you keep that one that wants to wander off in every other direction to where you're going?
Depends on if we're talking about employees or campers.
Both.
Both? We'll start with campers. So with campers, we don't have like a set schedule of activities that they have to do at like a specific time. They have the option to choose, and that's kind of amazing, especially if you're a child with a serious illness, because I don't think all the time you get the option of choice. So if they don't want to go fishing, they don't have to do that. You know, we gently kind of try to nudge them in that direction, but we don't ever pressure them into doing anything. So if they want to play basketball all day, they get to play basketball. We have hands-free spaghetti eating contests in the dining hall that I hear translate into home, which I think is kind of amazing. I'm sure the parents love that. But to Terry's point, this is so impactful because even a child with asthma, a child with epilepsy, a child with sickle cell, those children don't always get to go out and go swimming. These are things as simple as putt-putt golf, that as a parent, if you have a child with a serious illness, you have to plan and prepare for that trip over what you have to do for a child who doesn't have a serious illness. You have to expect them to go into crisis. So you're already set with that mindset of an expectation of something wrong could happen, and that's kind of scary too. Family retreat weekend is so important because it allows these parents to network with each other, on top of letting the parents have a moment to themselves. So while the child is swimming at the pool, they get to go for a walk, or they get to go to one of the parent workshops and talk to each other about what's going on. So it is very important that we have these. I know how important it is to have all of the family involved because my sister had type 1 diabetes, and we all had to go to the doctor's offices, meet with endocrinologists, learn how to give her an insulin shot on an orange, just in case she went into crisis. So that's kind of like the relatability on a personal level that I have with camp.
Hey Heather, TJ from Daytona City Lifestyle. How are you doing today?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm great. I saw the age range that you normally work with, and my question is, are there any plans in the works to potentially run camps for older disabled adults? And I'll give you the background on that. I have a 63-year-old sister. She's mentally retarded. She's basically permanently a 12-year-old girl. And she lives in Seattle right now. I'm moving her down here in October. And she goes to Camp Boggy Northwest every year. And she thinks about that all year long. She's super excited about it. It'd be kind of impractical for me to send her back up to Seattle every year. And so something like this, if you guys also did things for adults that need camp.
Yeah, that is really interesting. I can't say that I directly know the answer as to why we don't serve other age ranges and people that have disabilities. Paul Newman's focus and mission was always to help children with serious illnesses as well as general Schwarzkopf, so that's what the Prime Directive has been since 1996. And even before that, when he had the Hole in the Wall gang in Connecticut. But I know when it comes to other diagnosis groups, I get the question all the time, like, do you have children with autism? Do you have children with Down syndrome? Not directly, but kind of in a way we do, because the human body is interesting, and children with epilepsy often are autistic. Children with heart problems, sometimes they have Down syndrome too, because children with Down syndrome sometimes have heart ailments and issues. But as far as older age groups, I don't see that happening anytime in the future, just because our specific focus has always been children with serious illnesses. Not to say that there doesn't need to be attention towards camps that are run for adults with serious illnesses as well.
Thank you. Hey, Heather, I noticed on your flyer, you're busy all year long.
We
It's
are,
not just
yeah.
a summer camp.
Yeah, we do the retreat weekends and then summer camp.
Hi, Lori McMullen with your Daytona Regional Chamber. Thanks for being a member of ours. And much like Terry Zabston, I worked for Jerry Lewis in the past, MDA. Probably like Woody Woodpecker, maybe y'all don't know who he is. But we had a Camp Love too, and it's a time for everyone to feel just empowered and great for a week, and among other folks that are dealing with certain issues that nobody else can understand. And so what you're doing too is great, because from day one you had a leg up out there with that endowment. But it's been 20, 30 years. So to continue that on and have your funding model be more of unrestricted, it sounds like, independent donations and whatnot, aside from any type of grants, is the perfect model. So you are a role model for fundraising as to how it should be done, and sticking to your mission and serving certain populations and letting other people manage those, you know, such as there's probably a camp out there for your sister, like there is with MDA, is the way to go, because you can't serve everybody. You can't be all things to all people. So I commend everything you're doing. You are a textbook example of how things should go.
I wish I could take full credit for it, but I absolutely love the strategic planning and all of our fundraisers. To touch on our signature events, we have the Heart of Fashion, which we turn the Alfond in Winter Park into camp.
Nice.
We have a whole ballroom that looks like camp. And we have a fashion show, and even Marcus sponsors that. We have a luncheon, so our attendees get to enjoy lunch. We also have an auction, so they get to take part in that. We also have the Tumbleweed Fun Run and Gravel Ride. This year we just introduced the gravel ride, so we're partnering with the Seminole State Park next to us. And the Fun Run allows our campers and families and sponsors and anyone who wants to get involved, come to camp, do the Fun Runner walk, and then if they want to do the gravel ride, they can do that too. We had a lot of participants this year that did both the Fun Run and the gravel ride. There's a bubble bus at the finish line, which is a lot of fun. We have a raffle during that as well. Outback sponsors the catering, so everybody who did the Fun Run got chicken and waffles. And one of our signature events that's really been on the radar for Daytona is the Ride for Children. And the Ride for Children starts in Daytona. Teddy Morris is going to be working with us on that this year, so we're really excited to have it. It's amazing. And it ends at camp. So the Ride for Children is going to be coming up in October. We're really excited about that. That's been going on for 30 years. So those are our signature events.
Rock on.
Yeah, hi, Joe's Fractional Unit Marketing, so thank you. Just a question for maybe the accountants in the room. So if I donate to a non-profit, can I deduct that from my taxes in my business, or is that right? I don't know. Okay, I'm interested in maybe some low-hanging fruit for donations. I don't know if Facebook still does this anymore, but I remember at a time when everybody on their birthday could actually just put a post up and say, do they still do it? That's really low-hanging fruit. As much as this pulls on all my strings, I just don't have time to do fundraising events or anything. I bet everybody in this room, if there's a QR code on there, can click it and schedule that when their birthday comes up on Facebook, they can say, hey, don't send me anything for my birthday, just send a few dollars to Camp Boggy Creek.
Absolutely. I know you can always go to our website and donate. We do have an annual fund, so you can touch base with us on our newsletters and any of our direct mail that goes out, and you can donate that way. We do have a Facebook page. We have an Instagram. I am into the idea of birthday funding because I send out birthday cards to all of my donors on their birthdays.
Well, I just want to say that everybody in this room is really moved by this presentation, but half an hour from now, they'll all be thinking about something else, so make it easy for me. And if you put it on, I can schedule it, just put it on, or it can be something I just put on my Facebook, just make it easy, and there is thousands and thousands and thousands of people who would do that, and these are microtransactions that would add up very, very quickly.
Oh, it's definitely on our Facebook page. You can definitely donate, and you can go to our Facebook page and you can share our information, as well as if you're an annual fund donor and you don't want to have to constantly remember every year, like, did I donate? Am I going to donate? You can have that recurring. So if you want to donate $100, $50, $1,000, $2,500 for a campership, you can do that, and we can pull that money every year for you at a specific time. We can change that time. We can change your payment method. So there's a lot of flexibility to that too.
Great presentation. One of my questions I was going to ask was, do you still do the pipeline? I think that's a fabulous event.
I'm so excited for
By the way, Jason Frederick with Edward Jones Investments. We can also open up donor advised funds for you.
Nice.
So just throw that out there.
Yeah.
One question I did have is, you partner with Jeep Beach, because I would think that Jeep Beach and your organization would have an amazing weekend. Bring the Jeeps out to Camp Boggy Creek. The kids will love it. Brings a lot
Do
of
the
money.
mud thing.
Contacting Kurt early and getting all affiliated together would be awesome if you're not already.
We haven't done that yet, but I definitely want to get a hold of the Jeep Beach people because I thought about it this year and how awesome that would be to have that relationship, and it also brings more of Daytona into more of Camp Boggy Creek.
Yeah, just how can we as a startup community help you? Because this is, you know, a startup ecosystem community, and I love what you do. About 15 years ago, I worked with special needs kids, and I helped them have a weekly night that we had from our church group. We had to where there was one of our church 16 or 17-year-old kids with each special needs kid from 12 years old up to 60, 70 years old. And it was amazing. We did that every week, and we had about 100 different special needs kids that we took care of every week. But how can we as a startup community help you?
Okay. You can help us out with sponsorships, donations, word of mouth advertising, telling everyone and anyone who you know about Camp Boggy Creek, volunteers. So specifically with male volunteers, we need more of them. We don't have enough male volunteers for our boys' cabins, so that's definitely helpful. But a lot of it is, a lot of our outreach within Central Florida is Lake County, Orlando, those types of counties, near the villages. We do get a lot of attention from Daytona when it comes to the Ride for Children, but it's also trying to gain awareness for Daytona to recognize that we do other fundraisers. There's other opportunities to participate with camp. If anyone, and this is just a small way and token of helping camp, but we have the Boggy Bear. The Boggy Bear goes out to every child who comes to camp. They get a Boggy Bear and they get an Afghan. If you know people who quilt, if you know people who sew, if you know people that just want an arts and craft activity, this is a great way to help out camp. You can make these Boggy Bears. We have the outline for the specs on how to design them on our website, and then you just stuff the Boggy Bear. And I've done 3 of these so far, and they are not that easy. Okay, you need a wooden spoon, and when you think you're done stuffing, you are not. So every child gets a Boggy Bear. There's no exact repeat and pattern that I've seen so far. And then we also have the tumbleweed. So this is what our 5K fun run is named after. It wasn't originally, and then we had a light bulb come on, and we realized that this is a great way to market a 5K. So the tumbleweed is a visual act of kindness. Every camper gets one of these, and they come like this. But when you are at camp and you see someone doing something that is kind or nice to someone, or saying something that's generous, behaving in a way that's positive, you can take one of these strings off of your tumbleweed and tie it around the neck of their tumbleweed. So it's a visual representation of kindness. We also have a web of kindness in the dining room that our 17-year-olds get to wrap every summer, and every summer it looks different, and it's another visual representation of kindness. So there's different ways that you can help us out with volunteering, sponsorships, showing up and volunteering at one of our events. So if you want to volunteer for the Ride for Children, that's helpful. Our tumbleweed run, you can volunteer for that. So there's many opportunities to get involved at camp.
Hi Heather, my name is Casey Williams with Casey Williams Counseling and Consulting, and I just wanted to first say thank you for all of the hard work that you and your team put into Camp Boggy Creek and all of the events. For the last 4 years, I've had the privilege of working the Ride for Children through SR Barat and Michelle and Group. So that is 100%, me and my fellow models, we love that event, and yeah, it's incredible. So I just wanted to echo that in the room, that it really is a special place, and everybody should check it out. But I would love to get connected with you further. I have a networking group that I'm the president and co-founder of called Daytona Executive Network. And we have Friends of the Den, and we are working to partner with nonprofits so that we can collectively fundraise and support different local nonprofits. So I would love to get with you further and invite you to one of our meetings and get connected in a partnership.
I love it, absolutely. Your service animal reminds me, so we have an emotional therapy dog at camp. His name is Javier. Javier. One of these days I'm going to write a background story about where Javier comes from, because I bet it's somewhere exotic and unique. However, he is a black lab, and Javier, during our tumbleweed run, part of our raffle was Smooch the Pooch. So we kind of sent Javier out there strutting his stuff, and if you won that raffle, then you got to take a picture with Javier, you got to get a kiss from Javier, you got to spend some time with them. So that was a lot of fun.
You mentioned something really early on about interacting with your campers. It was something referring to first person.
Yeah, first person
Explain
language.
more about that?
Yeah, so first person language, our pals, our counselors, they're not trained to have conversations with the campers about their diagnosis. However, sometimes that does come up. We have a director of mental behavioral health, Dr. James, and he kind of helps coach our volunteers and also our staff on how to be able to handle those types of situations when you're speaking with a camper who wants to talk to you about their diagnosis. So there's a lot of body language when it comes to it too, getting on their level, not standing above them. So there's a lot of different techniques that we train our volunteers on how to talk to these children when they bring up those types of things. But first person language is always making sure that, you know, it's not the kid with cancer, it's Jaden and he likes basketball. So it's about putting the person first versus the diagnosis.
My name is Barbara Cowrie. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but I wanted to ask you, up to what age do the participants, like what is the cutoff age for them?
For the campers, 17.
17.
Yeah.
So the question about the adults, I'm aware of cerebral palsy. I'm probably not saying that quite right, but that organization is more than just that disease. They help with autism and with adults. So I wanted to suggest to you, and I could definitely give you a great contact for that bridge once they reach 17 to be able to continue with an organization that does address them as adults. Because I find that even in services like this, even foster kids, for example, once they reach the legal age of 18, it's really hard for them. And so I would think with the families, that would be a great connect if you don't already have it with the adult services. And maybe in the future, you are great at what you do. And I know the years y'all have, I can tell that y'all have really tried your best and have achieved it as far as meeting the needs of the entire family. So I want to commend you again. It's not just a textbook, you're definitely doing that. And I feel like we should be cheerful givers because you are definitely a cheerful receiver. And the kids, that document was just very happy. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Heather. Brad Harris with Volusia County. Heather, we're an entrepreneurial community, and we always advocate that our entrepreneurs assess the landscape, understand the markets, understand the need, and just from a future standpoint, actually not even future, but over 30 years, how has the landscape changed in terms of campers? Has it grown, the demand grown, are the conditions changing? The campers changing, and has that placed new demands on Camp Boggy Creek that you've had to deal with?
Sure. There's kind of like two examples that I can kind of show for that. One is that you give like a whole different group of kids. Like when I was a child, it wasn't, I mean, video games were out there, but it wasn't the forefront. There's certain things that children now are interested in versus what they were before. So Alvin and the Chipmunks to some of our campers are like, who are they? Woody the Woodpecker, that's another one. So it is also about kind of making sure that the activities that they get to participate are fresh and fun. We have a room for requirements in our art building, so I guess when Harry Potter came out, there was a need to kind of rebrand one of the rooms that the kids got to do artwork in. But I will say that COVID did, in a strange way, kind of change the landscape for how our networking is handled. So a lot of the doctors and nurses and healthcare partners that we had communications with, during COVID, you had a lot of them that were leaving that industry. They were changing out, there were new people coming in. So we have a director of healthcare partnership, and she goes out and she continues to network and partner with a lot of these healthcare facilities to continue to try and get our name out there. So it was almost slightly like starting over, but not really. So it was just having that conversation again, but with somebody new, like having to introduce camp to somebody new versus a doctor who we have been dealing with for 20, 25 years. So COVID kind of changed that a little bit, and how we operated camp changed things too. So we weren't able to bring people all the time to camp to do tours. So that kind of changed the landscape a little bit as well, but we're kind of back to running the way that we had before. And now that we're working with South Florida's region and North Florida's region, it also helps us out as well because we're doing fundraisers and partnerships in those areas of Florida. And a lot of our campers come from Florida. We do have some campers that come from South Georgia. We do not provide funds for transportation. So there are other camps that may be closer to them that might benefit them. But if they can provide for transportation, then they're, then we can welcome them to camp.
One more question.
Hi everyone, I'm Natalia Smith with Piscina County. I want to confirm, yes, all these donation to any nonprofit is a business deduction, of course. And I assume that you also probably can provide some sort of letter of to confirm that the donation is received or.
Oh, absolutely. We have a software that we work with as well, Razor's Edge, that allows us to track all of our funds, all of our donations, any communication we have with you. If we have a phone call conversation with you as stewardship, that fits in the Razor's Edge. There's a database system that also runs all of our funding, gives us all of our information we need to be able to know like where everything is going, and you also get confirmation of that.
Yeah, so for the business owners, get those letters. Put it in your record just in case you will be audited. The second question is the how old are the age for the volunteer? How young can they be to volunteer at the camp?
They can be as young as 19. So we start at 19, and as old as you are willing to keep moving and helping us out with the camp. We've had some 82-year-olds out that help us out. They do different things within administration, or they help arts and crafts, or they help the dining hall. So there's definitely opportunities for anyone and everyone.
Heather, thanks a lot for coming out today. So we always ask the one question at the end of our 1 Million Cups program, and we'll ask you this question. What is the one thing, as this community is all going to be hitting out, what's the one thing that the 1MC community can do for you?
Oh my gosh, I wish it only stopped at one thing. Tell everyone you know about camp. Come out and visit us. Sponsor a camper to come out and be able to go to camp for free. Volunteer at one of our fundraisers, or volunteer at camp during the summer or for our family retreat weekends. And definitely let everyone you know about Camp Boggy Creek, because like I said, you never know who out there that you're talking to knows someone or is someone who could use a place like camp.
Fantastic. Excellent job. So we're going to wrap this up. We're going to do our family fun.